Hi, I'm John Fitzgerald and welcome to Team Custodian. I get a letter probably once a week saying, John, Brisbane, what's happening in Brisbane? I bought something, and here's a classic. I bought in Brisbane in 2006 for $400,000, and now 9 years on, it's only worth $450,000. So the damn thing's only gone up by 10 or 15% or thereabouts. And over a 9-year period, that's not enough, that's nothing, etc., etc., etc. What's the answer to that? Yes. The answer is yes. But it's more than just a yes, we have to look at the data. Generally, we work on a 7 to 10 year cycle. This cycle's been pushed out to probably 12 years, and it's been pushed out to 12 years because of the GFC. I do need to talk about the GFC because it's an aberration that we haven't seen in our lifetimes before, and that's why we have the lowest interest rates we've ever had in Australian history. You know, when I say the lowest interest rates, you've got the Reserve Bank rate, the lowest in Australian history, and the forecast that will come down even further. That's just astonishing. And our growth is circa 2%. The Reserve Bank wanted to get above 3%. The world growth is 3.5%. So we've been hammered. You know, Australia's absolutely been hammered. And the story of Australia and the story of boom bust in Australia is a story of inflow and exit of funds. Because Australia only has about $700 billion on deposit, yet we have in loans, our banks are loaning somewhere around $5-6 trillion. So that money comes from overseas. When that money gets sucked out, we have a bust. Now, how does this affect Australia? Well, Sydney median house price from 2003 to 2011 didn't move. So it didn't move for 8 years. It started to trickle along in 2012. And let me give you the actual numbers on these. In 2003, Sydney's median was about $520,000. By 2011, it was $575,000. Today, it's nearly $900,000. And the majority of that growth has been in the last 18 months to 2 years. It's jumped nearly 60, 70+% in the last probably 2, 3, 4 years. That is absolutely astounding. Melbourne then is following. So now Melbourne's having growth, and Brisbane, that inner 10, 15k radius, that is certainly jumping. Prices there have risen well over 20%. We haven't seen growth in the outer areas, but let me take you back to Sydney. Sydney started growing in 2012 and then 13 and 14. We didn't see growth in the outer areas where we are until really 2014. And a good example of that is we did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of houses in Sydney in 2011, 2012. We paid an average of $445,000. By 2013, the Sydney inner market was bubbling, but we weren't seeing it in the outer areas. And those 445,000 went to 490 thereabouts, which is a little bit of uplift, but not where the clients are saying, oh yeah, I can really see it. Today, those houses are $600,000 and more. In fact, we had one client sell a house for $625,000, which I felt was under the market value. So I can tell you that's going to happen in Brisbane. When is it going to happen? It's happening now in the inner 10Ks of Brisbane. Inner 10, 15Ks. Very, very difficult to buy, and particularly on the Gold Coast as well. And I regard Brisbane, Ipswich and Gold Coast as one big golden triangle, and particularly that corridor. And we're beginning to see growth in those particular areas in the median house price. Now, I want to make one clarification which you might find a little bit interesting if you study numbers. The median house price in those areas is going up, but 4-5% where you don't see a lot. However, the land price is going up significantly. And the one thing you should know as custodian is the size of your block of land and what you paid per square metre. And I can give you today great examples of land sales around where you bought at prices 20% higher than what you would have paid. And a good example of that is in the corridor. We've done a lot in the corridor in that Pimpama, Coomera area. Now, a lot of you might have bought land in there for $300 to $400 a square metre. Well, now stages in the Meadows and other estates are selling for over $500 a square metre, and vendors are asking now $575 a square metre for land. That's a big increase. When will you see that translate to the median house price? When you see the houses start being built and sold. And this isn't me, this is just owner-occupiers buying in those particular areas. So there is real groundswell. Keep your eye on Sydney. Don't sell out whatever you do, because there's massive growth coming. And getting back to that, median house price in Sydney today is 880, maybe 900,000, depending on which barometer you use. Melbourne 660,000. Brisbane still around that 500,000. It's got an awful long way to go, but it is going to go. I can promise you that. Hang on to it. Great time. And let me reiterate, we've got the lowest interest rates we've got now, 3 and 5 year fixed rates, well into the 4%. So there's a great opportunity for you to lock in and seize the growth as well as the uplift in income. Great timing.